Citadel has been, in many ways, the hardest book I've ever written, but actually probably the most enjoyable. And it's partly because there's a whole new history to tell, a whole new cast of characters, and the writing for the first time ever of a love story, but also the Women's Resistance Unit. Lots of activity, lots of rushing about, lots of adventure. It's Rider Haggard for girls, if you like. But it's also been very emotional, bringing the series to an end. 23 years ago, we first went to Carcassonne, my husband and I, and bought a tiny little house in the shadow of the city walls. And I fell in love with Carcassonne and then with the Rider region and started to learn the history of the region. And in Citadel, I've been able to go back, therefore, pick up characters that I had in Labyrinth and in Sepulchre and tell, in some cases, what happened to them after the end of the first book or the second book. And in other cases, actually go back into their history and say what happened before they made their appearance in Labyrinth or Sepulchre. And that's been incredibly exciting, actually, and very, very satisfying. But at the same time, it really does feel like the end of an enormous part of my life. For nearly 25 years, writing stories inspired by the southwest of France and the history, the amazing women and men of Carcassonne, the landscape, the mysteries hidden in the Pyrenees, the esoteric stories that you hear, the mythology. It's been a large part of my life. It's been almost half my life. And therefore, to be finishing the story and saying goodbye to it, I'm not ashamed to admit, as I was writing it, I spent most of the last 10 chapters of the book in tears, because it did feel like the end of something really momentous. At the same time, very exciting. And when I finished the book, I felt a sense of, I've never written the words "the end" before in a novel, but I was really tempted this time. I resisted.